What's happening, guys, and today I'm bringing you Phase 2 to my Spider-Man Cinematic Universe. This is a part 2, so if you have not seen part 1 as of yet, then make sure to go in the description down below and click the link to Phase 1. And with that being said, let's get straight into Phase 2. We start our second trilogy in this universe, which I would like to be dubbed the College Trilogy. Now, this phase will be a lot broader than the first phase, as Phase 1 was very tightly packed. This phase will be exploring bigger ideas from all corners of the universe, but the main theme will be centered around Peter Parker going to college. The first film in this phase will be called Spider-Man Identity Crisis. I really want this film to focus in on the ego and fame that Spider-Man has gotten since the last trilogy. As I said at the end of the last phase, Spider-Man's career is thriving and Peter Parker will be living off that, thus causing an identity crisis. Peter starts to realize that he likes being Spider-Man more than Peter Parker, because everything in his life starts to become complicated when he's Spider-Man. Peter will start to drift more into the side that he wants to be Spider-Man, and this will cause him to have an identity crisis. Peter's arc in this film is to pull himself back a bit and realize that he's still Peter Parker as much as he is Spider-Man. Gwen will also play a huge role in this film, as them two will go off to college together. Gwen will be suspicious of Peter throughout the film, as he's spending way too much time being Spider-Man. This will then lead to Gwen finding out that Peter is Spider-Man by the end of the film. Peter and Gwen will also start to show first signs of being in a relationship, not fully in a relationship yet, but sharing many moments together throughout. The villain of the film will be Kraven the Hunter, whose hubris and ego will parallel that of Peter Parker. Kraven will be a celebrity at the top of his game and will try to hunt down Spider-Man in New York, but he will bite more off than he can chew, and once again, Kraven's story in this film will reflect that of Peter's, as he has to realize that there is more to life than being Kraven the Hunter. Harry Osborn will still appear in this film, and although he didn't get into ESU like Peter and Gwen, he will still be hanging out with them. Gwen will break up with Harry at the start of the film, which will further taint the trio's relationship. Harry's arc in this film will be sending him further down that dark path. Norman will take more of a backstep in this film as he works from the shadows, trying to rebuild Oscorp's reputation. As the College Trilogy takes us away from Norman's story slightly, we will start to see Oscorp ebbing and flowing throughout the backdrop of the film. Norman is desperately trying to rebuild his reputation. The next film in the phase will be called The Secrets of Black Cat. This film will be the sequel to the first Black Cat film and will switch back to the Wilson Fisk storyline. This film will also feature Silver Sable again, but this time Sable will end up developing a friendship with Felicia as we get more hints into her backstory. It actually turns out that Silver Sable was trained from a young age to be this assassin and has had most of her humanity stripped away from her. And when Felicia shows her compassion just as Peter showed her, Sable will start to change as a person. In this film, Sable and Felicia will team up to take down Wilson Fisk once and for all. It turns out, however, that Fisk was the one that killed Felicia's father, so Felicia would end up working for him, meaning that the Kingpin orchestrated the entire thing with Black Cat and the Cat Burglars from the very beginning. Sable and Felicia will take down Fisk, wrapping up the Kingpin storyline. At the end of the film, we will get a scene where Spider-Man shows up to check in after hearing about the defeat of Fisk. We get a nice reuniting scene between him and Felicia. The next film in the phase will be the sequel to Identity Crisis and the fifth film in the Spider-Man series, Spider-Man Downfall. This story will bring Norman back to the forefront of the series, with him desperately trying to fix Oscorp's reputation. In the lab, he has come up with a brand new idea that can heal wounded soldiers out on the field. He calls it the symbiote. This will be Oscorp's brand new breakthrough, so they can return to the top of New York's business chain. It will be sold to the military and hopefully will gain them positive press. On the Peter side of things, he will be dealing with bills and trying to pay for his rent at his apartment for college. Therefore, he will get a job at the Daily Bugle to pay for this, and thus we are finally introduced to J. Jonah Jameson. Jameson will tell him to go and get photos for the unveiling of the symbiote, and that's how Peter ends up getting it. The film's name will represent the downfall of two characters here. Not just Peter, who has the symbiote and will begin his descent into darkness, but Harry Osborn as well. Basically, Peter has been Spider-Man for up to 4 to 5 years at this point and has been through so much fighting, pain and suffering. This will all start to take a toll on Peter in this film, and although he has Gwen there to help him, he can't escape the darkness he feels inside. The symbiote will be an addiction for Peter, something that he can use to take his anger out on and the built up pressure inside. Obviously, Harry will continue his downfall due to Gwen and Peter's relationship and constant pressure from Norman to do better. Gwen will be the one that pulls Peter back into the light from the darkness of the symbiote. And then you guessed it, Harry Osborn will be the one to inherit the symbiote, thus giving us Venom. This will result in all those years of tainting and relationship to boil down to this one fight where Harry and Peter will fight each other. Peter will be trying to pull Harry back the same way Gwen did, but it's no use. In the end, Harry is defeated and the symbiote is taken into high containment. After the Venom and Spider-Man incident, it is revealed that the Raft is under construction, a place where superpowered people can be held. This is where the symbiote will be kept. It is also revealed that at the end of the film that Otto Octavius, Kraven, and the Enforcers are also being transferred there and being kept from now on. They all have a vendetta against Spider-Man and they're willing to help each other out. On the Norman side of things, after the symbiote incident, Oscorp is in tatters. Norman now holds a grudge against Spider-Man. He stole the symbiote, and even worse, his son is now in prison due to it. Oscorp is under bigger pressure than ever, and Norman is descending into full insanity. With all the stress, he starts to take something that calms his nerves. It's a green substance that he's been developing. The next film of this phase will be simply called Sable. This will be an origin film expanding upon the past that she spoke about during the second Black Cat film, and will expand upon her descent into becoming a master assassin. This film will also feature Wilson Fisk at the end, as he's the one who takes her on to do his bidding. Her role in this universe will be similar to the Widows from the comics in a way, except it's Silver Sable. This film will show us how she has humanity within her and how it gets stripped away by the time of the first Black Cat film. The next film will be the big culmination film, not just for phase 2 but for phases 1 and 2 combined, which will be titled Spider-Man Generations, which will represent the fact that this film taps into everything that has come before it. This will be the end of the college trilogy and will wrap up everything that has come so far. This film will be absolutely mental. First of all, focusing in on the Peter and Gwen relationship. Gwen has pulled Peter back from the darkness and they're in love with each other. This film will heavily feature these two as the two main characters in this film. All in all, this is a Peter and Gwen movie first and foremost. This film will also feature Norman Osborn as the main antagonist finally. After 6 films and a TV show appearance, Norman Osborn will be the main villain. Like I said, he has been taking the green, which will turn him into the Green Goblin. But this will be a tragic version of the character. The idea here is that Norman won't realize he is becoming the Goblin, as the Green will be pursuing him to pass out and commit crimes as the Goblin. Norman's deep underlying hatred after the last movie was for Spider-Man after ruining what he had left of Oscorp, so that will be the Goblin's driving force, to commit as much pain against Spider-Man as possible. Throughout the film, there will be a scene where Norman tries to rescue some of his happiness and tries to break Harry out of the raft, causing a massive prison breakout similar to the scene in Spider-Man PS4, which brings all the villains together to form the Sinister Six. As I said, this would be a massive culmination movie. The Goblin figures that he could use the help of the other villains, and thus Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Kraven the Hunter, and the 3 Enforcers from the second Spider-Man film form the Sinister Six. Black Cat will also make an appearance in this film as well, who will help out Spider-Man. Accompanying her will also be Silver Sable, who will be on the side of Spider-Man 2. Peter's arc in this film is testing him at his absolute limits. After everything he's been put through as Spider-Man, can he deal with his greatest threat yet? The answer is no. As you probably guessed, Norman Osborn will kill Gwen Stacy at the end of this film, adapting the night Gwen Stacy died in this film as well. After the Sinister Six is all but defeated, the Goblin will kill what's closest to Spider-Man. Norman will obsess over Spider-Man in this film and will eventually figure out who he is. And because Norman finds it quite hard to kill Peter, even with the aid of the Six, he kills what's closest to him, and that's the love of his life, Gwen Stacy, thus tying up the story of the first 6 movies nicely. The 6 films come in a tight package of a story which sees Peter Parker go from a kid to an adult in college, to dealing with the death of Gwen Stacy. The Goblin is eventually taken out and Peter Parker is Spider-Man no more. The death of Gwen allowed Peter to see that being Spider-Man brings nothing but destruction to the city and sadness to his life, bringing us to the end of the story. And that is it. Spider-Man is no more. However, we will get a little teaser at the end though of Doc Ock saying that he isn't done with Spider-Man just yet, reminding us that his body is slowly degenerating, setting up a future storyline. We will also get another teaser that the symbiote that was being held at the raft at the end of the 5th film has escaped due to the prison fight. So let's move on to the TV shows of this phase then, shall we? The first one will be about none other than Flash Thompson. Although I didn't mention him in the last phase, he was still very much present in the High School trilogy. However, at the end of the High School movies, he ends up training with the military. This show will see him getting accepted into a high agency known as S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, S.H.I.E.L.D. in this universe won't be the same as they are in the grander Marvel universe. After all, this is a Spider-Man only universe. However, we will still have Nick Fury as the director, and Maria Hill, Agent Coulson, will be there as well. However, the difference is that in this universe, they won't deal with the same stuff that they do in the comics. A better way of putting it is that they won't be as higher up, meaning that they won't deal with the same level events as they do in the comic books. They will act as a higher entity than the FBI and basically will be nothing more. An organization that conducts special military operations in secret. It will also be revealed that they have connections to Richard and Mary Parker as well. However, this show will follow Flash Thompson as he rises through the ranks at S.H.I.E.L.D. It's revealed that S.H.I.E.L.D. at the end of the show has detained the symbiote that escaped from the raft, and they're currently developing it to be used as a proper weapon, thus setting up Agent Venom with Flash. The second show is The Underground Season 2, which is probably the most attached show of the rest of the story of Phase 2, which will follow the events of the first season, and since it takes place in the past, the show will just continue the events leading further up to the events of Spider-Man 1. Once again featuring the Maggia and Kingpin and developing those stories. We will also get more insight to how the Kingpin was the one that killed Walter Hardy, tying it into the second Black Cat film. The next show will be a spin-off to The Underground and will be about the Prowler, giving us a first look at Miles Morales in this universe. The show will focus on Aaron Davis and will show how he commits criminal acts to pay his way. This show will also be a character study into Aaron Davis as he regrets ever getting tied into the Maggia and the underground crime families, as he has a family himself. A baby Miles Morales will also feature as well, showing the remorse Aaron has, and this will be the conflict that will drive this show. The final show in Phase 2 will be called NYC Call and Rescue, which, if you couldn't tell, will be a show about the NYPD in the Spider-Man universe. Since the police force played a heavy part in the first Spider-Man trilogy, they will get their own spin-off show set in the present day in Phase 2. This show will be about Jean DeWolf and Captain Stacy stopping low-level crime in New York City. I'd say it'd be a crime thriller slash a murder mystery show, which would be pretty cool. But with that being said, that is it for Phase 2 of my Spider-Man Cinematic Universe. If you did enjoy, then make sure to hit that like button, and if you don't want to miss Phase 3, then make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And make sure to hit the bell next to the subscribe button so you do not miss any more content as soon as it comes out on the channel. And also, if you guys are interested in clothing based solely on superhero designs, then I give you I Am Superhero. It's a clothing brand that has designs based off all of your favorite superheroes, from Spider-Man, Batman, and many more. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to go and check that out. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, and peace.